Good evening and welcome along to another episode of Not Another Rangers podcast. If you saw the infamous picture of Katie Price on social media this week, that just sums up the mood in the Rangers camp at the moment. In 1985, the talking heads had a hit with We're on the Road to Nowhere, and at Rangers, that's exactly where we're heading. If Simon Cowell had an inspired boy band, our name would be No Direction. The major rebuild we have been promised for over 2 years has consisted of putting a plaster over a lost limb. The manager and the chairman both recently stated that only in May they realised the rebuild was much bigger than it seemed. They've obviously been operating club business with Stevie Wonder's eyes the last 10 months. The fans deserve better. My jersey this, new strip that, cash being handed over from our pockets, but the loonies are running the asylum. The time for change was yesterday. Joining me to discuss all that and more is Mr. Ross Clark. How are we, Ross?
Very good, mate. I'm feeling inspired. I thought I was in the start of pretty fart there. Not even prepped here. I'm right off the top of the heat that.
Ricky, how are we? Can you hear us, Ricky?
Oh, sorry, bud. Yeah, you broke up a little bit there. No, good. Very good, Davey. Yeah. It's a bit sad about last night, but we'll get there. We will get there.
And Mr. Scott Kerr, how we doing?
I could be better, Davey, especially after last night. But see, the thing is, we've seen it coming.
No, you're right. We did see it coming. And Ross, if I can come to you first, we've not had a chance to speak to you for a while, and it's good to see you again. Pre-season has been a tough pre-season, but that turgid form that's went on for last season, dating back to Kilmarnock, where we got the win with Tom Lawrence score, and then since then we fell into the Motherwell disaster, and it's been a run of 7 victories in the 19 competitive fixtures since. Just what is going on at the moment? What's the main problems do you think that we've got? Is it Clement? The players, obviously the board needs to take some responsibility, but what do you think the major problem is just now?
It's a wee bit science, isn't it? For me, the biggest problem we've got now is we don't seem to operate as a team, and we're also playing in a formation where we're insisting on playing a linking 10 and we don't have the bodies to play it. So we're getting overrun in midfield every team we play against. Hearts overrun us in midfield. Connor Barron, who, as I've said before on these podcasts, I wanted us to sign. Great. I think he's a great player, energetic. Him and Diamandi are being stretched thin because we're operating against threes most weeks, and they're two. Lawrence is off or nothing. But the worry for me is Lawrence and Dessers, they're not the quickest, they're not the smartest when it comes to the press, and I feel as if teams are just playing right through us, Davey, which is a worry as well. And that doesn't get helped when you're changing your left and right wingers. So that whole front four, which is the focal point of the press, I feel as if we're disjointed every week and we're just getting ran all over the popper. I think that's happened since the tail end of last season. Obviously, we've had a big change in players, a bit of turnover in there. You've not got a Jack or a Lundstrom, you've replaced them with Barron, but I don't think we've replaced that link between the midfield and the striker. And every game, Dessers is just getting more and more isolated, and he's not got the ability to hold the ball in. The way we are trying to play that kick and rush football, I watched Open Goal and they're talking about we want to get the ball forward within X amount of seconds, but in order to get the ball forward, you need somebody to then hold it up and let everybody catch up. And I don't think that we've quite mastered that yet. I think we need to get personnel in to play the 4-2-3-1 that he obviously wants to play. He's quite rigid with that. I don't think we've got the personnel to play it at the moment, Davey, which is causing us a lot of problems.
No, I think that's fair comment. And Ricky, if we take Ross's point on a step further and we look at last night's fixture, in the first half, I think if you look at the team selection before the game even starts, there's question marks again under a Clement selection. I don't think anybody expects the odd wee curveball. And it's just the one or two names in the team sheet that take you by surprise. And I think last night was no different in terms of Clement following suit.
Yeah, it flattens the support straight away. The fans are they're looking at the team sheet and it's just deflating them straight away. I mean, the defence was pretty much as we all expected it was going to be last night. The midfield, I know people were calling for Sterling, and we all wanted Sterling to come in to give it a bit more dig, but I just didn't think Clement was going to change, and that was proved right. He kept the same midfield, and it's just not working at all. And then up front, it was, you looked at the left-hand side, Yefte we expected to come in, the striker, and then you saw McCausland on the team sheet and Czerny not on the team sheet, and it just deflates the fans. You know, Hampden's hard enough to get an atmosphere going, and that decision to start Czerny against Motherwell but not start him last night was another in a long list of absolute baffling decisions. You know, Czerny should have started last night, and if he was fit enough to play 45 minutes and then extra time, if it had gone to extra time, then why did he not start the match? You know, I mean, McCausland, I like McCausland. I think he has potential, but last night he had an absolute shocking match, and with the thin squad we had, we just couldn't be gambling that. But that 5 million was important to us, so very important last night, and we couldn't be gambling on that. We gambled on it, and it's backfired spectacularly.
And Scott, if we take what Ricky's saying there and move it on a touch, the fact is Clement made the selection choices, but I think if you see what we had to do last night, we had to win the game at home. The onus was on us to win the game. I always subscribe to the fact that in the big games and the games that matter, and in fact, any game for that matter, when you're at Rangers, you must start your best 11, regardless of the circumstances. As Ricky says, if Czerny was fit enough to give him 75 minutes plus penalty kicks, then surely he's fit enough to start the game. Did that puzzle you when Clement said that the medical staff advised him not to play him?
That puzzles me when the medical staff said, advise you not to play him. So if you say he can play 45, why do you not start him? It's the same 45 in the second half, isn't it? So, listen, I think Clement's making a lot of excuses. He's coming out with a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense. But see, last night, David, the atmosphere was poor. The build-up, it was a European game last night. It felt very... there wasn't any atmosphere. There was, even in games at Ibrox against European sides, you're up for it. The crowd's buzzing. You feel it. The players feel it. We feel it. Last night it was nothing. Absolutely sod all, and it was like, is this a Champions League qualifier? Is this a League Cup tie? You didn't know. You couldn't tell the difference, and it's poor because the players are offering us nothing to build for. We all know the issues with the board and stuff like that. But I just think a lot of fans are getting fed up, and I can see why. But I've been reading things that all day saying we played well. We actually played okay. We didn't play well. We played okay. I thought Kiev were comfortable. Yeah, with a bit of the ball in the first half, but they were comfortable. They didn't really. Their keeper, apart from the save with McCausland, they never really had a lot, and it wasn't the greatest shot with McCausland, to be honest with you, but he palmed it away. But we didn't offer a lot. They didn't have a lot of chances either. They broke a couple of times, put balls in the box, but there's nobody there. So Butland never had a save to make, right, really. But it was a poor game of football. Both sides were poor, to be honest with you. And if Clement saying that's his best starting 11, or even a Czerny is included, we've got a lot of more issues than we think, because that was a very poor excuse for a European tie. I've been to a lot of European ties, and some have been battered off the park, but we put in better performances than we did last night.
Ross, if we look at it in depth in terms of how we shape up since Clement's come in, he tends to play man for man defensively, and at times he leaves us with a high line, and we don't have the recovery pace in the team, especially when Balogun's no there. And we've got a problem at the moment in terms of reliability of certain players. There has been question marks over John Souttar at times, but he did play the majority of last season. Ridvan seems to play 3 or 4 games and then disappears for 5 or 6. Balogun can't play 290 minutes in a week. And the rest of the defenders that we have, Tav's the wrong side, 32 approaching 33, and he's vastly on the decline. That is a major concern. We don't have the players to go man for man. We should probably be defending deep. But for me, Clement looks as if he's putting square pegs in round holes. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Walter Smith's teams were built back to front, weren't they? So you've got a defence now where I don't think any of us know what our best back four is. And I seen somebody on Twitter earlier on saying that we're not in the middle of a rebuild. What we're in the middle of is a massive downsizing, and that's the way it seems to be. We've lost players, we've lost experience, and we've brought in boys that are not going to come and win your league this year. The likes of your boy Gamani, and I know I'm going for defence to attack here, but just the overall hang of it is like in the last few years you've lost a Hollander, and the proper to me looks like that type of player, somebody who's going to be right up an attacker's arse. As soon as the ball comes in, he wants to get round them, he wants to be up close, he wants to be defending. But if he's coming to a new country, he's settling into a new team. 1 week he's got Suter beside him, the next week he's got Balogun beside him, then he's got Hefty at the side of him, then he's got Ridvan at the side of him, last night he's got Ben Davies at the side of him. You've also then got the issue of Butland, whose confidence to me looks shot. He's not coming for crosses anywhere, so we're having to defend the box like proper siege defence, which is where John Suter comes into his own for me. That's Brody's there in front of the ball and stuff like that. And then on the other side, you've got Tav, who by all accounts, I'm not a lover of Tav, I'm not a hater of Tav. I understand that people tell you he gets numbers for right back. For me, Miravis plays like a right winger because he doesn't defend. So I think the stats are skewed. But how easy is it to get by Tav now? That's that. And obviously Xander had got us into the players' lounge at the Hearts for the Hearts game. And I was sitting right behind the dugout. And 3 times in the 90 minutes, James Tavernier came out to the doctor, got a handful of tablets and a bottle of water and took them during that game. So he isn't fit, right? He's no fit. He's playing through the pain. But how much is it costing us? Because we're playing further back, and then for whatever reason, he's all of a sudden turned into a centre half as well. Every time a long ball comes forward, Tav's standing on the edge of the 18-yard box while there's a guy in 20, 30 yards of space out on the left wing for the opposition. Been caught out so much. So I think our defence is shaky at best, and the problem we've got is you've got all these players. Ridvan's not on wee wages. Tav's not on wee wages. I dare say Ben Davies is not on wee wages. So you can't just go and buy another 2 centre halves because the ones who've got them will do it for you, and that comes back to all the way back to Beale, Van Bronckhorst buying players and bringing them for the English Championship. Cantwell's another. Bringing players up here for the English Championship and giving them massive wages, Matondo, and now we can't shift them. And now we're stuck with them because we've jumped in 2 feet first to try and get these marquee signings, and there's no work for us. I went all over the place there.
No, but I mean, you covered a lot of ground, but it needed to be covered because I think it's a massive concern to us. It seems, obviously, when Ross Wilson was there, that we were buying players, through his contact books and his relationships with clubs. But what I don't get is when you're the manager of the Rangers, you've got to be all-encompassing. And I don't understand if we don't define a philosophy or a style of play and then get players in to fit that. We're just throwing guys in willy-nilly and hoping for the best. And Ricky, it's not really working at all. And I think not just the starting 11, but the choice of substitutions is baffling at times. If we take yesterday, for example, and we'll come to the Yefty incident in greater detail, but if we touch on the fact that he had a booking and maybe 3 or 4 incidents which were 50-50s, not really much happened in them, but the guys were going down it every time. Yeah. There's got to be game management for the manager that comes in there and he takes ownership of that situation to say, they're identifying him as a target. There's potentially a red card in this. I'm going to take him off and we'll try something else. But with Clement, that doesn't seem to be happening.
No, he should have been a bit smarter. I mean, everyone said at half-time, it was all over Twitter, that there's a chance Yefty's going to get sent off. Even though the decision was absolutely shocking. They were rolling around. The ref was buying everything they sold. The ref was buying, unfortunately, and Motherwell was the same at the weekend. It's frustrating to watch. Anytime a Rangers player went near a Kiev player, they were just diving to the ground, and the referee was handing out yellow cards and making the decisions, and it was very, very disappointing to see. The ref was absolutely shocking. But again, the decisions from Clement, I mean, bringing on Davies at left back, I thought was very weird when we've just given young Fraser a new deal, and he played really well towards the end of last season. He gives the team balance, and he was very like Yilmaz, Again, with the manager, he's overestimated his powers. He said he was going to clear up this injuries, and the players were running marathons pre-season, and that's our full left side that's our full left side injured already, 4 games into the season. Cortez is out for 5-6 weeks. Yilmaz has got a bad one. So we're going to Parkhead in 18 days, and we don't have any left side of our team, and that's before we're even talking about signing new players, So it's been a very disappointing start to the season, to be honest, Davey.
No, I fully agree there, Ricky. And Scott, if we look at the fact that we did go down to 10 men and it was an absolutely shocking decision, I think we can all agree that he jumped for the ball and his hands are by his side. There's no intent there to lean in. There's no elbow. The Kiev players made Amelia. But do we need to box clever in European football and understand how these refs react to situations? And what's your take on it? Do you think there's culpability for Clement, or is it just simply a bad decision by the referee? Or should Clement have pulled Yefty out the firing line before that incident happened?
You can look at it that way, David, but I think maybe have words with him at half time and say, listen, don't dive in for anything. Watch what you're doing, because I say you like hard, and I don't think he made any bad tackles, Hefty, at all. The booking was a booking. I've seen it back, and it was a booking because he leaves his foot on there, so it's a yellow card. But other than that, I know a couple of times in for a challenge, and their players are looking for it, and I've seen people saying maybe a ref thought, well, no more, and you're off. But the challenge it sent him off. That's even a free kick, and I mean the yellow card. And I've seen other folks saying to me, like, his arms next to a guy's head, blah blah blah. If that's football nowadays, as well chucking it, because it's not a free kick, like I said, now in the yellow. So I think Clement's got a bit to say, well, he's not done anything bad to be sent off, because that was never a sending off. But I think sure Diamond was on the yellow as well. He never subbed him, so I think you just have to be careful in games. They were play acting. I think the ref has to be stronger. I think the ref let a lot go, but for some reason he picked on Hefty twice. Because I think there are a few other challenges there he could have booked players for. They never got a player booked at all last night. And some of their challenges are quite bad. But the Rangers players were only rolling about, and that's what happens in European football. But even if he stays on the park, that doesn't mean we were going to win the game. Because we never looked like we had a couple of chances, half chances. Dessers should have done better. And when it came into the box, we had Van get injured with a shot. But we weren't that great. They all looked like they could score as well. So I'm not going to say that here and say that red card cost us last night, because I think it was a factor, but I don't think it was even an issue we lost.
Ross, obviously, we spoke about the manager briefly here, but I think while we're on the subject, we might as well go in depth in regards to Clement. Understand his hands have been tied in terms of his budget's probably nowhere near as big as what he thought it was going to be originally. However, he must have had some form of idea. He's been part of the team that's no got us into the Champions League, and we're now going to be playing Europa League football. So he's played his part in that. In terms of his selection and substitutions, we've touched on it, but I'm not seeing a style of play, certainly no one that's pleasing on the eye. And it's worrying for me that Tom Lawrence is playing a big part under him, and whether you subscribe to the fact that you think Hadji and Cantwell should be involved at the moment. But I think we could all agree there's an argument there to say that there may be better players in current form than what Tom Lawrence is. So does Clement do himself any favours at the moment? If they're in the building, should we be using these guys, or because they're not interested, we should just leave them to rot?
I think when it comes to it comes down to the individual player, doesn't it? And if reports are to be believed, Hadji wants to stay. It's us that are kind of ostracising him because Beale, when he gave him his new contract, put a clause in there which will see him get a wage rise. if Todd Cantwell's twice came and said to you, look, I'm no want to be here. But again, that comes down to why Clement had left the press conference. Why did he come back in and sing like a bird about that? Because see now, if you were going to get 2.5 million from him, you're getting $1 million on the last day of the transfer window, aren't you? Because what you've done is totally ostracised him for the team. He's not had any competitive football. So all that's happening in his value every day is just going down and down and down. You've got Hadji, who's helped the bloody rights to his wedding for 200 grand in his home country, and there's talk that we're trying to get rid of him just for no money, just if somebody will take his wages on. Now, this is a guy who scored a hat-trick for the B team the other day, right? And fair play on that, but he's put on his Instagram after it a cryptic post that home is where the heart is, or it's good to be home or something. So he's telling you that he sees this as where he wants to play his football. Where I don't agree with the budgets thing is, that was a game last night that guaranteed us a £4.3 million parachute payment, even if we had a then went on to lose against Red Bull. We've not had a big budget. Everybody's complaining about the budget. Why is £2 million it? Not even training full time with the first team yet, because he's not at a level that he's ever trained at the level we're playing at. Why is nearly £2 million quid of a budget having to work one-on-one with a coach 3 weeks into the new season because he's never trained at a level like us? So what have we done? Have we went to like a junior football league and pulled a guy that we thought looks decent? And because surely if you're scouting a player or you see a player, surely you buy somebody that you think can come in and do a job. If you're spending the guts of £2 million when you're saying you've not got any money, then you're looking for somebody that's going to come in and do a job. So we've knew these qualifiers were coming. We've knew we had games early on this year. We're supposed to be going through a rebuild, and we've went and spent £2 million up the wall on a Moroccan kid who possibly will be a great player. He looked decent for his YouTube videos and whatever else, but everybody looks good. You could make a YouTube video of Sibo and he would look half decent, do you know what I mean? But for me, we can't moan about budgets when we're going and spending money on people. Because for that £2 million, you might end up making 5-10 million or something later on, but it's possibly just cost you 40 million, because that £2 million could have been spent on a 10 who would come in and do a job for us, rather than Tom Lawrence running about the park just gassed after 25 minutes. Now, I like Lawrence as a player, but he's got nothing in his legs. He's like Ian Beale. I've got nothing left. 25 minutes into the game. I think, mate, the Clement, it's just baffling. You just touched on it earlier. The Cherny thing for me, I just don't get that. Just go and kill the game. See if he's got 75 minutes in him. Just go and play him for the start. Go and kill it.
Exactly.
But we don't. We want to hang off at the end.
See, the thing is there as well with that, Ricky, is that a man management issue? Is
100%
weakness there? Because if you think about it, guys like Walter Smith wouldn't allow the inner sanctum of the dressing room to be played out in social media, or as Ross alluded to, going to the press and actually telling them that. And that's a concern for me in terms of, you know, if you're managing the dressing room. We seen Michael Beale when, you know, Yanis Hadji was telling him, no, I'm here, I want to play for Rangers last season. And a day later, he was shipped out the club. So for me, Rangers has to work with, a guy who can not just manage the team on the park, but manage the team well off the park. Is Clement shown perhaps that he's maybe more like Le Guin in that respect?
Yeah. You know? Great point, and great comparison. He's stubborn. You can tell he's stubborn just the way he talks in press conferences, you know. But football's strange. Football's not like any other profession. Football, you can hate each other 1 minute, and then you can have a cuddle, and then the next day everything can be right in the world. Hadji and Cantwell it's madness that they're training with the B team. Absolute madness, and it has been madness since the start of the summer. Like, okay, Cantwell and Clement don't get on. They don't need to get on. If you listen to Roy Keane when he talks on that podcast he's on with Neville and that, he never got on with Sir Alex Ferguson. Everyone thinks that they were best friends and they were like bosom buddies. That's nonsense. And with Hadji and Clement, they don't have to be best friends. But Clement, he has to perform. If he's in the first team, he has to perform. It's been total neglect starting with Lawrence every single game in the 10 since the start of the season. It's beyond madness. Like, the guy cannot run. He creates every single game. His stats are exactly the same. Key passes nothing, passes nothing. Give the ball away 7-8 times. It's exactly the same. It's been absolute. We should get Hadji and Cantwell back in now. Before the damage is done too much, and if we can't sell them or we get a decent offer, then he has to make peace with both. And this striker from Morocco, I bet if we bring players in from the B team, they go straight and train with the first team. So what's so special about this kid? We're teaching him how to run and then kick the ball like he's a small child. Morocco, I can tell you, if anyone watched Morocco in the Olympics, they are miles ahead of Scotland. We are dinosaurs in Scotland with the nonsense. We look at the state of our league today. No Old Firm fans in the next Old Firm games. We've got stadiums where we've got banners covering seats, and we don't sell seats to supporters. Our league is completely tin pot, and Morocco, the Moroccan players are fantastic. The kids are brilliant. The way that they train them over there, they've got some fantastic players coming through their youth academies. So I'm sure this guy can train. He could have trained with the first team by now. He could have been on the bench and he could have contributed by now. But hopefully we see him soon. But he should have been involved weeks ago, you know.
No, I totally agree with everything that you said there. And Kerr, if we go in a bit further to the man management issue, obviously Clement has said, last season, don't worry, wait till my players have got a pre-season under the belt. You'll see us flying. Then we're in pre-season and into the start of season. We're struggling. He says, wait till, October, November, December, my team will be flying. Now, a Rangers team can't afford to kick into gear October, November, December. We've got to be up for every game, or you see, you just drop points, and before you know it, the chase is insurmountable before it's even really begun. So, does Clement let himself down in terms of how he speaks to the media? Does somebody at Rangers be telling, or is that the problem? The fact that there's no leadership at the club. We've got a chairman that likes to play hide and seek, so Clement's just sort of flung out there and hung out to dry as being the only guy that's addressing everything that's going on with the club at the moment.
Like I said the other day, the motto was here, the club was run perfect. I'm not saying everything was brand new, but it was 99% Walter knew it was happening, but it was run as in a way Rangers Football Club should be run. Steven Gerrard brought some of that back because he was a winner on the park and he wanted to be a winner off the park. And yeah, he only won one title, but the players acted different, they trained different. We were up for all the games, even though we didn't win them all, we were always up for stuff. He left, and it's went pear-shaped. Beale had too much control. Clement's having too much control now. And Clement came in, we all thought, right, things maybe have changed because they came in and done okay, granted, but obviously at the end of the season it went tits up. But at the start of this season, I think he's lost some in the dressing room. I'll keep saying that because there's guys out there wanting to play, there's guys out there, but he keeps playing in front of him. Like his favourites. Every manager's got favourites. We all know that. Doesn't matter who you're. The fans get favourites, the managers get favourites, and you accept that. But to come back into, like Ross mentioned, and you mentioned yourself, David, to come back into that press conference and throw a player under the bus when you've already done it anyway, but humiliate him a couple of times, he's not going to play for you again. So that's how he wants away. If Clement get his sack, you might turn around and say, no, I want to be here and play. But he doesn't want to play for that manager. Hadji issue is, I don't think it's anything to do with Clement. I think it's to do with his contract because we have to pay him more money. So I think the club are saying, we're not giving him extra pounds to play another game because he's not played often enough. So maybe that's how I attracted him, money-wise. But I don't know where the club's going, David. We've not got a CEO. We've not got a director of football. We brought in Coppin. We were told he's going to be this guy. But he's a scout. He's got the same qualifications as myself. As a scout. No, I mean, he's just looking at guys and thinking, let's sign him. And I'm not saying he's not going to do a good job, or he's not done a good job in the past, but we need more than that. I mean, that's what started for Ross Wilson. Ross Wilson started a lot of these contracts and the guys are still here because he just took the piss, basically. But I don't see where Rangers are heading. There's no leadership from top to bottom. And the boardroom are a complete mess. I mean, I think the last manager I pointed to was actually decent was Gerrard, and that was Dave King was involved. But I don't know where we're going under the board members, under Bennett, under Clement. I mean, he's saying wait till October, November. The league's finished. without a Champions League, you go out Europa League. What we waiting on? Because where I see this team going is nowhere. Because there's nothing in this side. Technically, we're poor. We lack fitness. We lack any structure. Patterns of play you see every 5-10 minutes a game and then they disappear. I thought Barron and Diamante, I agree with Ross, are getting flung to the lines because these guys are working so hard to try and break their teams down, to try and get forward, and they have no help at all. No help for anybody. John Suter, I thought was okay last night, to be fair. I thought he actually fared all right at times. Proper looks decent as well, but they four last night were okay. He took off Diamante, and I still don't know why, and then dropped Lawrence deeper. And you see for their goal, he jumps. You can get me jumping if the shot is going to, but come on. But Sterling come on and then he offer it either. He looks disorientated or whatever, because I think he's been left out to dry with the manager. I think the manager's got a lot of influence in the dressing room with players, and some of the players don't like it. I know yourself, you'll need maybe a wee clique of players going another way, and the dressing room's split, so that's the way I see it. I don't see this improving anytime soon.
See, Kerr, can I just jump in there? You imagine your Sterling, like Ross said earlier on, right? Ross was at Tynecastle, right? You imagine your Sterling, he came to Ibrox as a right back, right? He's watching Tavernier play the way he has the last 6 months. He's playing the way he is at the start of the season. Like Ross says, he's seen him. He'll be watching him taking tablets at the side of the pitch. There's rumours all over social media that he's been injured since the start of the season. And then yesterday he gets brought on. He gets brought on a European game, left midfield. The guy's going to be disillusioned. I would be disillusioned if I was Sterling. You know, he should be starting right back now. I don't care if Tav's a captain. Sterling should be starting at right back because he makes the defence stronger. You know.
Well said, David. That's where Clement's claiming the medical team he trusts doesn't stick, because if he's not playing Danilo because of that, and no starting Journey, why is he playing Tav?
No, it's a fair point. And Ross, if we say in regards to the squad at the moment, we're stretched in terms of the players that we do have at the squad. We've got injuries. So, for example, if a midfielder in terms of Barron or Diamante was to get injured at the moment, we're up shit creek without a paddle, let's be honest. What do we do to address that? Because we don't have many sellable assets. Should we take the time between now and the window to perhaps look at Jack Butland's agent and try and facilitate a move there? Because I think there's been question marks over his performance towards the tail end of last season, certainly during pre-season. And I get that he did make a good save against Motherwell at the weekend. But is there question marks to how he handled the goals last night for you?
It's probably no last night, to be honest. I think when you look at the stills for the first goal, he's covering the left side of the goal. The ball goes by him, but he's 6'5". It's quite close to his body. I think it's proper. It goes by. I don't think that we can blame him. The second one, although Enderick's never played in goals, will tell you it's right at him. But when a boy's hitting it on the half volley with that pace, it's tough. I said that on obviously podcast towards the end of last season. For me, in the big moments, I'm looking at the game where if we'd have beat Celtic at Ibrox, they would have put the league to bed for me. We get it back to 2 each. We're in the ascendancy. The ball comes across, they hit a shot and it goes right underneath them to make it 3-2 to them. Then Matondo scores late on to make it 3 each. The cup final, the real big moments for me is when he's not been at his optimum, but yet he makes worldy saves, and that's possibly why he was knocking about the English leagues not getting a look in, because when it comes to that big crunch moment, I'm yet to come away from an Old Firm game going, Jack Butland was, thank God we've got Jack Butland. When, let's be honest, the majority of Old Firm games last season, we needed a McGregor save. We needed at 2 each. We needed a big save to get the crowd going again for the last 10 minutes to go up and then score. In the cup final, you just needed a safe pair of hands just to catch the ball, drop on it, and the big man's. Then pre-season as well. For me, he's not been great pre-season, and even like say last night, and I see Wolf in the chat here. I've seen the one he kicks last night. He's left Duker, and to be honest, I'm like that. It's sitting on the back with it. Every time he's getting the ball, it's like his distribution and everything's away. It's like share it long, and I'm like that suits him. He's quite comfortable with the ball at his feet. And that happens to goalies. Listen, I watched that happen to my wee brother at the weekend. It's happened to better goalies than Jack Butland. But just it seems as if there's just a nervousness and anxiety around about him that he's not coming for crosses and being as commanding as he used to be. He doesn't look as sure with the ball at his feet. For me, that's a worry. But if you can get north of 10 million quid for Jack Butland, I reckon you could go and sign a goalie for 2 or 3 million. I definitely don't think, and I've got a lot of time for Wayne Kelly, but no is the Rangers' #1 goalkeeper, not a goalkeeper that saved 54% of shots on target for Motherwell last season. I don't think that's the guy to take us forward either. So if you can reinvest that and go, look at the other side of the city, they've just went and got Kasper Schmeichel on a free. He'll do a job for them in this league because it's got that experience of winning the Premier League, going to the Euros and being winner. We just need a goalie up here that's got the concentration and the experience to take the sting out the game when it needs to be to do it. You see McGregor used to do it with a kind of fake walk, half run thing you done to pick the ball up at goal kicks. You just need a bit of savvy and somebody that can concentrate. If you got offered an offer 10 million for Butland, I would take him, get another goal in and then strengthen a few positions. But what you're saying as well, Davey, about midfield and getting overrun, Hadji and Campbell between them must earn the guts of 50 grand a week. So if we're ostracising them and making them play in the B team, or in Campbell's case not even playing for the B team, then who's going to take them? Because that's the difference. It's the same as the centre half thing when you've got Ben Davies there earning probably the guts of 25, 30 grand a week. You can't then replace them with a younger person like a Popper on a lot less wages because you've got that big. You've got that big expenditure sitting there being wasted, so we really need to get these other guys out the door as quick as possible in order to let us move forward and go and reimburse that money into the squad.
Again, it's another spot on point you make. But Ricky, if we take the fact that we need bodies in, right, and we need to try and facilitate a sale, 1 or 2 that generates finance, because we're not going to get European money that's not going to cover anything more than our wage budget for the season. So we have to try and generate interest somewhere. I don't think the deadwood that we have, when I say that the guys that Ben Davis that have been here long enough that nobody's interested in, and as Ross said, the value of Cantwell is depreciated by the way that Clement's handled that in the media. So is Jack Butland a potential sale that we could try and tout before the window? Because I think this squad needs major surgery. And in terms of that major surgery, do you think if we don't get that, we're in a real danger of having a fight for even second?
100%, yeah, I do. I'm really, really concerned. I think we need 6 players for the starting 11. That's what I think. We need a right back, we need a number 6, we need a number 10, we need a left back, we need a left winger, we need a striker. But the thing is with Butland, I mean, if we were going to sell him, then we should have sold him. It should have been a few weeks ago. You've only got 17. You've got 17 days of the window to go. It's very, very difficult to get someone to give you over 10 million for Butland now and then invest that wisely in the remaining time of the window. But the Rabbit, Bennett has to back Clement. If he doesn't back Clement in the next 17 days, then I can honestly see the support after Parkhead. I can see the report. The fans are at the end. You see it on Twitter today, like it's unanimous. The fans are very, very angry, and it's at boiling point. I mean, a lot of people are starting to turn and blame Clement. A lot of people are blaming the board. A lot of people are blaming the players, but the anger is there. So Bennett has to support him in the next 17 days. He's got to find money from somewhere. If we don't sell Butland, then we need 3 or 4 at least before the end of the window, and that's only to finish second. I mean, we don't want to speak about them, but they went and spent 9 million. They're about to spend another 9 million on a midfielder. They've got money coming in for players, so I think you can forget first this season. I don't want to admit that, but the chances of scratching them is this season, if you're being honest, is unless they sell 2 or 3 players towards the end of the window, it's going to be very, very difficult to even mount a title race, which is very sad.
Absolutely, it should never be happening. It's unacceptable, Ricky. But Scott, Ricky was touching there. Ricky was touching there about players, and when he mentioned fans, the board, and there's one player I want to come to in particular, and he got praised last week for how he handled Rangers supporters when they met him in a barber's and they paid for their haircuts. But the way that Cyril Dessers reacted to the crowd last night, is that unbecoming of any Rangers player? Is that unacceptable? Because I get that the big guy's playing every minute under the sun just now because for some reason our medical team won't let Danilo get a game. But at the same time, for a professional football player at his age and his calibre and the leagues that he's played in, to do the basics in terms of holding the ball up to allow your team to get 10, 15 yards further up the pitch, it's no wonder the crowd was on his back last night.
Davey, I've seen a lot worse over the years. I've seen Rangers players talk back to crowds, many Rangers players talk back to the fans, so he's not the first I've seen, but the last. Listen, he was getting a lot of abuse last night. Some of it was uncalled for, but sometimes players get frustrated just as we do, and they do these things. Listen, I said all along, Dessers isn't the main issue, but he's one of the issues. But he doesn't get any support to help him out. He can't hold the ball up. I don't know why we play that to him, because he can't hold the ball up, and anybody can see that. He doesn't run the channels. Folk can see that. He's not very mobile. He's just, he gets in positions to have shots and targets. Sometimes he scores, sometimes he doesn't. But apart from that, he doesn't do a lot for me. He's not the answer we need, but he's only one at the moment we've got, because Danilo's no match fit. The Moroccan boy, man, we don't know how fit or unfit he is. We don't know how good he is. So there's not really anybody else that we can turn to. But I get he was frustrated last night. Maybe he shouldn't have done that. But like I say, I've seen posts. I remember Cammy Fraser gave us a Vicky in the coffin front years ago. So I've seen worse. But listen, he's not the only person that should be getting slaughtered. But he's a target with the fans, him and Tav. But they're not the only two. Listen, we've not got a lot in that team. It gives you any positivity coming out at the moment. They're all getting it in the neck, and rightly so. But at the end of the day, it goes back to the manager. The manager keeps picking them. And to be honest with you, it has scored goals for us, but we need something different. If you're going to play Dessers, I think you need something next to him. And with Lawrence doesn't get a legs to make space for him or run by him or create stuff. I think you need somebody. So maybe Diamandi might be better. Or maybe when Danilo's fit, play him up there. Maybe change it to a 4-4-2 or whatever, because the system he's trying to play, Clement trying to play a system he likes. I've said this for a long time. He's not playing a system the players like. And play a system that plays to the player strengths you've got. You might not want to use that system, but if you've only got certain players in the squad, then use a system that suits them to get the best out of them. Instead of trying to fit them into a system you want, when you know the system is not going to work with some of these guys, as we know. So it all comes back to the manager. And I know he's signed a new contract, and we sat here and spoke about it. But like I said before, David, and I said it to you before the season started, before he signed that deal, I said I'll give him 4 months and he'll probably be away, and I'm still sticking by that.
No, Ross, obviously we've not had your thoughts in terms of, your opinion coming into pre-season, but seeing how it's panned out since then, and the point Kerr makes, obviously he doesn't see him be longer than 4 months. I think it's a fair argument at the moment in terms of what we're seeing. Is that all the more strange to you, the fact that he was gave that 1 year contract extension, making it another 4 years to left on his contract? Because as a club, we've been on a horrendous run in terms of results. Our style of play has a lot of people scratching their heads. There's no sort of positivity grasp onto. So just where are we on the park at the moment?
at the time we took him, all the people who I watch, Joshua Barry's, boys like that, who are good in the analytics and the tactical awareness of what's going on, that can talk about the game of football, tells you that this guy is so fluid. One week he'll want to play 3-5-2, next week it's 4-3-3, then it's 4-2-3-1, then it's, and he'll adapt and he'll change. I don't see any of that. We don't have the players to play, as I kind of alluded to at the start. For me, we don't have a number 10 who's good enough. When you've not got a centre forward that can hold the ball up for 5 seconds to let the three behind get up to catch up with him, then you need that 10 to be playing after Dessers. You need Dessers to be holding it up and a 10 to be running beyond them. We don't have that. We don't have that at the moment. So if he's going to continue playing it and that's his style, but I like to think, and again, referring back to Ryan Jack talking about Clement when he first came in, and he wants to get the ball in the opposition box within 7 seconds or 17 seconds. I can't remember what it says, but he wants the ball up fast. See when we are playing, and no disrespect to a Hearts, a Dundee, a Hibs, the budget we are spending on players and the quality of players we've got or should have, because as I says to you off air, Davey, for me, looking at the Hearts starting lineup, the first game of the season, Frankie Kent, the boy Taylor, Kai Rolls, Vargas, Shanklin, Danda, probably all walk into our team on the first day of the season based on ability. So I'm talking there as if there's other teams that we should, for me, we should be able to play football in the Scottish League. We should be able to play wee intricate triangles and draw teams out to us. All we're doing now is smashing the ball long into wings or right up down Dessers' throat, and we can't hold it up. So whereas these teams used to sitting against us, they're playing further up the park because they know that their centre halves will just go and dominate the ball and end up counting on us. We are the Motherwell game and the Hearts game, both of them get into the final stages of the game, looked the more likely to go on to score as the games went on. We have Rangers. We have Rangers. We should be, as teams tire, we should be dominating games. We shouldn't be hanging on to a 1-0 win at home against Motherwell at this stage of the season, looking as if we're absolutely done in. We don't have a depth for squad either, which is a problem because we've got nobody to change it up with. It's like picking between the lethal injection or the electric chair. Who do you want on the right wing? Scott Wright, who'll run into a defender and give it away, or do you want Ross McCausland, who'll get to the byline, kick the ball with all the force of a 4-year-old child, and the first defender will just sweep it away anyway? We've not got options. I can see Wolf in the comments there. They've got 2 starting 11s. Look at the strength for Hearts' bench and the squad they've got. How have we got to the stage where you look at the Hearts squad, and again, we need disrespect to Hearts and say quite a lot of their boys would do a turn for us. That's never been the way it's been at Rangers, but that's where we are now. It's back. It's pretty bad. I do think it's pretty bad where we're at with squad depth. The starting 11, we've got a gaffer who doesn't want to pick his best 11. We've got Danilo, who I never realised up until yesterday walks as if he's got rickets, as if he's just came off a horse. Like, I've never seen that before. Quite rightly, I seen David Edgar ask the question, like, why did you delete the video of Danilo limping? And it turns out he's just got a gangster lean. That's what it is, just got a gangster lean.
But see that, Ross, see when David Edgar asked the question, what really annoyed me about that was Clement's reaction to David Edgar asking him the question. I mean, David Edgar is asking that. It's a fair and pertinent question. Clement's reaction, Ross, is just, I don't understand it. And that's what I mean. He talked last year about building the synergy and things like that, like reacting like that to David Edgar. That's not going to do him any favours with the support.
No. I put on my Twitter, like, I hope fan media all of this. Why is he coming out here limping like that? But it turns out that he's no injured. That is the way it works, and people have obviously, I think Empire found videos of him before, and he has got a wee kind of limp. Possibly that's now worse after his injury, which seems to have been a really bad injury. But it's just worrying to me that you've got a £6.5 million striker on the bench. You go a goal down, you need a goal, and we don't throw him on. We throw on Bobby Matondo before him, and then Phil Clement sits in a press conference after it and tells you that he wanted to give Danilo minutes, but the opportunity never really came up the way the game was gone. If you can't throw a striker on when you need a goal and you're putting on somebody who's failed time after time after time after time, then when are you going to give him a shot? Is he going to play in the cup at the weekend and then you'll not see him again because when the pressure's on, we can't risk him? That's bonkers to me.
Ricky, I want to come to you with a point that you brought up, and I think Caleb mentioned it here, and it's in regards to the Old Firm allocation. I think it's something that we should touch on because the game's pretty much around the corner. And the fact is, we'll be going there with the depleted squad that we've got, maybe the worst Rangers starting 11 that we've seen there for long. And the fact that we're going to have no support there. We thought the mediation was done between the clubs. I think it's something to do with the opposition believe that they've got security questions in regards to that. I'm not going to get too involved in the politics because I know it has been tit for tat and we started this. So, we've got to, put up with whatever's flung back our way. However, going there with no support, with the way that we're in at the moment, that's not going to do us any favours, is it?
We've got no starting 11. We've got no West Side for a starting 11. We've got a manager who's stubborn, who's going to play Tom Lawrence as number 10. We've got Tav at right back. We've got no away fans. Good luck, Rangers on the 1st of September. It's I was surprised about that today. To be honest with you, I get really, really annoyed about. I like Scottish football. I like how we still have a purity to it. It's not a tourist league like the EPL. It is what it is. But see the last few years, and I don't care who started it, who's done this, who's done that. Doncaster has to sort this out, and we have to get away fans in all of the grounds. You see, is when we go to Tynecastle and they've got banners up, and we've got a tiny, tiny section of our support. It ruins the match. It ruins the atmosphere. It looks so bad on the TV. We go on about Sky. Sky are not giving us money. Sky are this, Sky are that. Why do they not give us money? And then, oh my God, we ban all the away fans, have a pocket of away fans. There's empty seats everywhere, and the stadiums just look absolutely embarrassing. It needs to get sorted out, and they reckon it's the first 2 Old Firm games of the season. There's going to be no away fans, and for me, I don't care what anyone says. I mean, I remember in the 90s going to Parkhead when we had the jungle and there was like 35,000 of us in the away end and we went 4-2 up. That was like one of the best Rangers games I was ever at in my entire life. And now there's like a whole generation of supporters that are like never going to experience with the team the way it is just now, they're never going to experience what it's like to win at Parkhead anyway. But you know what I mean? That away day feeling, and even your guys that are like your guys like that go all the time, that have been going for years and never miss a match, even they're totally struggling to get tickets now. It's absolute madness. Doncaster is in charge of Scottish football. He needs to get all the clubs round the table. We need to all be adults. No tit for tat saying, oh, your supporters are this, our supporters are that. And we need to get it sorted out. There needs to be a percentage that every team has to give away fans and a certain amount in certain grounds, and it needs to be sorted out before the start of next season. But hopefully this season we can get it sorted out.
And Kerr, it's just another example of bad boardroom dealings at the club, and I want to touch on the board at great length. John Bennett seems to speak only every 2.5 years, and he comes out with the big long platitude, the ready-made statements, and he said he's all in Clement, and there might be a bit of pain, but things will get better. But we're not really seeing that. You can't operate at Rangers and hide. And to me, when the going gets tough, John Bennett is conspicuous by his absence. I think the fans deserve to be addressed more properly, whether that speaks to club TV or the fan media. Something has to be done, because as we saw today, and I'm sure everybody saw on social media, the fact that someone was hired quite readily who had leanings towards the opposition, in a prominent role within the club. And yes, they're no longer there anymore. However, the things that they were saying about us as fans and our club, that person should never have been allowed to get a position as a commercial director or a commercial manager at the club. And that's just another, sham how John Bennett has been doing business at Rangers since he came to prominence as the chairman.
Listen, the board are a bin fire. They're shocking. Listen, a lot of people didn't like Dave King, but Dave King to me was decent. He done a lot of things. He said he tried to get us in the front foot. Granted, a lot of board members didn't like him as well. I don't know what he's like as a person, but to the fans, I thought he was good. Douglas Park didn't sell it. John Bennett didn't sell it. I don't think they want to be in that position. I think they don't mind being in that position, but they don't like having the position because they don't want to speak to the fans. Don't want to tell people the truth. They don't want to tell them what's going on. They think it's all kept behind board. And that's the other thing you mentioned. I don't really care, David, who we employ. I don't care their background, who we employ. But you can't get away with saying things like that anymore, especially in nowadays. But I don't care who we employ. I don't think going into somebody's background or where they're from should be an issue, but obviously people's on social media. And if you say things on social media now, the police can come through your door, you end up getting 18 months in the nick. But that's the way we run. The board's poor, the team are poor. Listen, Clement to me is a big issue, and I think by the time Clement leaves, and hopefully I'm wrong, and hopefully he throws all this back in my face and we end up with some trophies. But I think, and we've got a couple of people watching us tonight from the other end of the city. Thank you for joining us. But I just like to say, at the time Clement leaves, we'll be apologising to Michael Beale. That's how bad I think it's going to get.
Apologising to Michael Beale. I almost spat my cornflakes out there. Well, it's probably wrong time of day for cornflakes. But Ross, if we take the board in terms of how they're managing the club as a whole, there's obviously a football guy there. And Graham Souness alluded to that, on Monday when he was speaking in TalkSport. And his recommendation at the time was obviously Lampard for the job. I get that's his boy, he's got a good relationship, whatever. But, Jim White asked him the question as if to say, does anybody there know what they're doing in terms of football? And he said, no, Jim. That is stark, Ross, isn't it? That is really worrying going forward. If somebody's saying that about the guy who has the reins to your club at the moment, we're really going to be struggling going forward.
Aye. When you look at the Bennett regime and the way things have went under him, like a Bisgrove, your marketing guy, who possibly come up with one of the worst possible ideas to have an Old Firm game in Australia to celebrate Ange Postecoglou's homecoming on a trip with Celtic. So that got him a promotion up to CEO or CEO. Am I right in saying CEO? He was CEO before the rest. So that's how little the board value us as fans. That somebody who made that decision, which was so much animosity for the fans towards that decision, and then thought, I've got a great idea, let's put him as the CEO of the company. We're now at a place where we don't have a footballing. They used to speak so much about the footballing board and the PLC board, and at this point in time, it looks as if we've not got either right. As you say, we've not got a footballing guy on the board. We've got people making decisions to run a football club who are running it like a business. And these guys are successful. You're not going to tell me John Bennett doesn't know how to run a business. He's a very successful businessman. But football's a different world for running your normal everyday company. I think that he's made a mistake last year. I know he made a mistake last year and Mirror saying to Michael Beale, you know what you're looking for, on you go. Just give me your shopping list and I'll go and pick up the tab for you. And this year he's brought in Coffin, who the jury's out. I like the fact that he's went and got Barron. I like the fact that within the club everybody's talking about how good it is to have young Scottish players in the team. That fills me with hope that maybe we'll go down that route. You look at the boys at McCown, Dundee, your captain, your players like Lennon Miller, who's now going to probably boot our wage, now going to boot our transfer. I think maybe if we'd have got Champions League, you'd have maybe looked at a player like him as a long-term investment. We've already put £2 million into this boy Agamani, who obviously they see as a long-term investment. But it sounds very much to me, Davey, as if the board this year have said to Clement, just get by as best you can. Just get by as best you can, and hopefully as of next year, you'll see that player trading model kicking in. Now, this is the worst year possible to do that, because both clubs are now at 118 trophies. If you don't win that first trophy of the season, all your signage around the training centre in Ibrox is in the bin, world's most successful football club. And it seems to me as if the board are quite prepared to let that happen this season, and hope that you'll have a season down there, but next season all these young players will be embedded, and then you can start to come back up. My worry for that would be once you fall behind, you get left in the dirt. I think that's a big gamble to take. I think it's a really big gamble to take, and I think that some people on our board on their condition that just putting up a challenge in the league and maybe taking it to the split is progress for us. But us as Rangers fans that have grew up through, now I'm only 36, I've grew up through the 90s and successful teams and helicopter Sundays and whatever else. But I've also came through the third division right up to where we're at, no getting out the championship at the first time asking and all that palaver as well. But I think people at my age are still looking at, no, we need to get back to where we were. Whereas I think that there's an acceptance at boardroom level that we're not going to get back to there anytime soon. We've tried to throw money at it and it's not worked. And I think this season is about investing in Clement's talking about his 3-4 year plan. I think that our board are quite prepared to more or less give this season up in the hope that we'll get a young team built on the cheap in and bedded in, so that next season you've then got less of a turnover and you can hopefully kick on for there. And to be honest, was it one cup game? Celtic lost one cup game in however many years, and they were throwing barriers and stuff about Parkhead. I don't know how we're not at that stage. I don't know why the fans will come on here and talk about it. You go to Twitter and everybody will talk about it. We need to get the board out. We need to get people that want the best for the club. But for whatever reason, we follow the same route as the club with a dignified silence. Everybody has a wee moan about it on Twitter and then just goes about their day-to-day life. And the worry for me is that my wee girls who are 9 and 12, they've only seen the bad side, so they've not felt that success. And there's plenty of kids who are at that kind of 15, really impressionable age who Rangers don't really win in. And that could hurt us long term, because let's be honest, when you're 9, 10, 11, 12, do you want to go to football if your team's drawn or not playing well? So I think that it could potentially end up costing us a generation of die-hard fans, where people will be a Rangers fan but they'll not be as attuned to it because it's not a successful team anymore. And they'll be listening to folk like me and you four, and you'll be the old grandas telling them about the good old days when we won Helicopter Sunday and when we had Loudrup and we had this one, and wait to see this goal Peter Lovenkrands scored against Inter Milan, and that will be like a distant memory, and that's the worry for me.
No, I think it's a great point. I think apathy has set in amongst everyone at the moment. And just before we round up, I'd like to thank everybody in the comments. Please tell all your friends about us. Like, share, subscribe. We don't try to be as negative as we seem to be at the moment, but I think everyone's on the same boat, that we just want some positivity, something to cling on for the club, but we will just call it as we see it. My thanks to Ross Clark, a great debut here on Not Another Rangers podcast. You're welcome back anytime soon, Ross. Thanks very much.
Thanks for having me, gents, and good luck with the venture.
Thank you. Ricky, thanks again for joining us, mate. Another sterling performance.
No problem, bud. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. And Mr. Scott Kerr, Mr. Consistency, always there. Thanks very much, captain of the ship.
Never, Davey. See you on Friday, Ricky.
So we will be back Friday. like I say, please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about us. And remember, this podcast is and always will be free. It's good night from them and it's good night from me. Good night.